This is the Palin Update on Saranet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
Paying, $4 a gallon for gas, and how we can apply Obama's failed energy policies and his anti-American domestic drilling policies with the price of gas.
Sarah Palin isn't currently running for president, but you wouldn't know it by listening to her. The governor sounding very presidential this past week, calling out Obama for what Palin calls anti-American policies. We'll take a closer look at the governor's comments. We're very pleased to be joined today by Adrienne Ross. You may have read some of her work right on Saranet. This talented school teacher has quite a perspective on all things Palin. And she recently got some recognition from Sarah Palin herself. Adrienne Ross, our special guest. And a little later, we'll check out some more Palin headlines, and another Grizzly Fest is in the books. Now, a person who got her very own shout-out from the Mama Grizzly. Adrienne Ross here on the Palin Update. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm glad to be with you.
And we really are happy to have you here. And could you tell us first what you've been doing for Governor Palin? You have a great site, motivationtruth.com, and I know you've been a strong voice for the governor for years now. So tell us what you've done and why Sarah?
Well, like you said, I have my website, which is Motivation Truth, which I started at the end of 2008, so shortly after the election. And I really wanted to write the record. You know, there was so much, there were so many lies and so many half truths, and so I thought if I had my website, I could speak the truth. Obviously, it's called Motivation Truth. So I do a lot. I do a lot of writing, trying to take on, as the governor would say, the mainstream media or the attacks on her character, etc. So writing is my main tool. It's my main voice, whether it's Motivation Truth or Conservatives for Palin or U.S. for Palin. There are a lot of different sites that I post on, but that's really what I want to do: educate people on the truth, because unfortunately, some people don't hear anything other than what they hear in the media, and we know that we can't believe all of that.
That's for sure. And, through your work, you've got a chance to travel a bit and see the governor several times. You've even made it all the way to Alaska. How was that adventure?
Going to Alaska was an experience of a lifetime. I went in July of 2009, and it was an amazing. First of all, it's the most beautiful state, and it's one of those places that everyone should go visit. I always say I don't know how anybody could be in Alaska and not know that there is a God, because it is so beautiful and it just screams God. But not only that, it was unique for me because it was right after I got there that the announcement was made that she was going to step aside from the governor's office, and so I happened to be there when she did make that announcement, and I happened to be there at the end of the month when she turned the reins over to now Governor Sean Parnell, and so that whole experience was just amazing. The timing was just something that you couldn't create on your own, and it was an awesome experience.
And awesome. You got to meet Sarah's parents and other family members too?
I did. Her parents are wonderful people. Her mother is just so sweet. And once I met her mom, I realized that the governor got it honest, because they're just beautiful people. Her dad is very interesting. I'm a basketball enthusiast. I coached basketball for years. I still play, and so I was able to talk a little bit basketball with him as well as Piper. And it was great. It was great to meet her family. It was great to be in the it was in a 4th of July parade with members of the family, etc. So I'll always remember, being in Alaska. I was there for a whole month, so I got to experience quite a bit.
You make a great point, though, about the character of course, Governor Palin, and you see it throughout her family. And, you know, people like you and me who've been lucky enough to meet her and meet some of the others, we've been able to validate it. But, you know, I think it comes across to others, too. People see them on television, and I think those who, you know, didn't know them when they first came on the national scene, at least in '08, you get that feeling right away. What did you mention just now? You talked about basketball. You talk about normal things that everyday Americans talk about. And that family, you know, even now with Sarah with such star power that she has, just seeing her at CPAC and seeing how she accommodates everybody and the way her daughters act, it doesn't seem like they've changed one bit.
That's what sets them apart, I think, and that's why people connect. I mean, people say all the time, you know, what is it about her? I just read an article this past week about what is it about her and how she connects with crowds, and it is because they're just regular, everyday Americans. They love their families. They love their God. It's just they're not pretentious. They're just regular people, and you connect to that because there's so much. I mean, there is so much pretense, and so many people do change when they've got a name or they come on the national scene, and you don't really see that in them. They are average, everyday, kind, loving people. Now, I always knew she was the real deal. I always knew Governor Palin was the real deal. But when I met her the first time, it was like one of those things where you know that you know that you know now. And that's exactly what I experienced. That she is, you know, what you see is what you get. And I don't think that's something that you can fake. Not to the point where so many people say the same thing.
Exactly. And you've been lucky enough to talk to the people in the circles, same as myself, where you get the same reaction. Everybody says just what you said. Well, I thought so, but then after I talked to her, I really thought so. And, you know, it's the security guards and the people who are protecting her who move people along. She'd stand there and talk to you, you know, like the Sarah 5-6 years ago before she was on the national scene, if it was possible. It just isn't right now.
And she would. I've been in her presence at times where she is being moved along, and she'll say to somebody, can I sign the baseball for him? I still remember one time a guy was like, sign my baseball, and she's got a deadline to meet, she's got a plane to catch, and she's like, can I just sign can I sign the baseball? She always wants to connect with people, and it's natural for her, and it's like I said, it's real. You can feel it's real. That's why there are people who, before meeting her, have this certain attitude toward her, this negative attitude toward her, certain people. But once they meet her, once they're in her presence, something changes. I know that's what happened when she went on the set of Saturday Night Live. I saw it when she appeared on The Five this past week with Bob Beckel, which was priceless. There's something that happens when people meet her face to face. She has something special, and people recognize that when they allow themselves to, when they open themselves up to that.
Yeah, and I mean, liberals worth their salt. I don't know if that's an oxymoron or not, but I mean, we'll see how Beckel talks after this meeting. But
right.
You want to disagree with someone's policies, that's fine. But do not attack a character, especially someone like this governor who really is top notch. And it's been few and far between when you've seen some lefties say, "Oh well, I don't agree with her, but as a person, she's okay." So hopefully we'll see more of that. Now, you mentioned Alaska's God's country. I know you say on your site that you're a Christian committed to fulfilling God's purpose. Tell me, how does that factor into your promotion of Sarah Palin? It's probably pretty easy because I think she follows the same path.
Right. And I'm drawn to character. I'm drawn to purpose. I'm drawn to faith. And obviously she is a person of faith, and I connect with her on that level as well. I also believe that she chooses to serve for the right reasons. And as a Christian, that matters, of course, to me. I think that there are some people who, they may do the right thing, the quote-unquote right thing, but not always for the right reasons. But with Governor Palin, I sense a true heart of service, that she truly wants to serve. She wants to serve her country. She wants to serve her God. She seeks God on how can I help? What can I do to make a difference? And again, I don't need a title to make a difference, but I believe that I'm here make a difference. And I connect and I respect that kind of servant's heart. She's not a typical politician. I don't think she ever was a typical politician. She is a servant, and I have great respect for that. And then add that to the fact that she has accomplished much. I believe that she has common sense ideas for this country, and that's good for all Americans. And I just respect her all the more. But her heart toward God, her heart toward her family and her country, I connect with that because I think those are God-placed ideas and values.
You're a true Palinista. You do what you do for all the right reasons, I know. But I know you just had to love it when the governor herself mentioned you in a Facebook post recently. She highlighted your article on the Planned Parenthood Komen mess. Tell me, Adrienne, how'd you feel about that, and how'd you find out about it?
That was humbling. That was very humbling for me. I obviously, like many other people, I follow the governor on Twitter as well as Facebook, and so it didn't take long. It didn't take long for me to see that. Of course, it didn't take long for the tweets to come to me, and the comments from different people who noticed it as well. And it is a humbling thing, but also I appreciate the fact that she was standing up for the right thing. That whole situation with Susan G. Komen and Planned Parenthood, and that whole situation was it was sad that it turned out the way that it did. But I thought that there was a point to be made. The Planned Parenthood was going to beg about all the contributions that came in. Well, obviously, then you should be able to go it alone instead of taking my money that I give towards something that I don't agree with. And so, obviously, the governor has been outspoken on that issue before. So she could connect. She connected to that post that I wrote, and I appreciate very much that she highlighted it. But of course, it was a message that resonated with her, and so yeah, I appreciate that quite a bit. That was awesome.
Yeah, that is cool stuff. Now, how are you feeling nowadays as a Palin backer, and where do we go from here? Are you hoping for a brokered convention? I mean, a lot of Palin people are still, saying Palin or bust with the 4 GOP candidates remaining. What do you think? What's your take on all of this?
Well, like many other Americans, I am less than enthused with I've been less than enthused. She has been the person that I have wanted to see in this race since 2008. So her not getting in the race was sort of a shock to my system. But as far as the broker convention, I mean, there's a lot of time left, and that's definitely a long shot. But it's obviously a possibility. Nobody, even though Romney is being, I feel, forced upon us. He's not destroying anybody, in the primaries of the caucuses. So anything is possible. We'll just have to wait and see. I take the governor at her word, and that right now, she's just trying to figure out what she can do to help the cause. And if there were to be a broker convention, wow, I mean, wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, I mean, she's been saying, it's not going to be a conventional election all along, and I know we kind of pick this apart a little more than others, looking for these little Palin clues and buzzwords. But, I said to someone the other day, they say, well, yeah, but if it happened, whether it was Palin or anyone else, you're only looking at 8 weeks or so to run against Obama. And I think that argument would make more sense as an impossibility, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But, today with the Internet and with everything out there so quickly, especially if it was someone like a Palin where she's known already, it's not like, a Herman Cain or a Michelle Bachmann or even a Rick Santorum, now somebody who has to kind of introduce themselves to the country. Who knows? Maybe a little short sprint to the finish line could do the trick.
Right. Yeah, I think if anybody could do it, it could be her. I try my best not to pick apart everything that she says. I got into a little trouble a few months ago because I spoke out about people respecting her decision, and
yes,
people didn't necessarily agree with my take on it, but I take her at her word. I take her that when she says, look, through prayer, I've decided not to go that route. But I didn't. What some people didn't understand that I was saying was that I was never saying that I didn't want her to run.
Right.
anybody with common sense or followed anything that I've ever done would know that. And I wasn't even saying that it was an impossibility. What I was saying was that it would take prayer. You know, my commitment has always been to pray for her, to lift her up in prayer, and to trust that God is going to order her steps, and that with Him all things are possible. So we'll have to wait and see. Just as she said in the interview with Fox News Insider that I put on my site yesterday, you know, she's seeking God, and she's always about what doors God opens, and that's just where I am right now. And right now we don't know what's going to happen, but I still say with God all things are possible, and His will be done. I believe that He's not finished with her, that she's just beginning, and whether it's this particular election cycle or whether it's something else, there'll be a lot more of Governor Palin in the years to come, I have no doubt.
Yeah, I think we're kind of on the same page there. I've said it multiple times, too. Nobody wants her to run more than me. There's no doubt about it. But if it's because, you know, through her prayer, through her relationship with God, and through what she wants to do for her family. I mean, you know, her kids, at least two of them are very young, and then still has younger children as well. And I respect that all the way. And again, somebody who wants her to run, but, you know, there's running when you want to, and there's running when others want you to, and the whole thing. But we'll see what happens. But Adrienne Russ, great job today. We really appreciate you coming on. And again, your website is motivationtruth.com. I hope everybody checks that out. And, of course, you can read some of her other stuff right on saranet.net as well. But, again, thank you so much, and keep up the fight.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for all that you do also, and I appreciate being on. God bless you.
Adrienne Ross, a super Palin backer. Good to know we have wonderful women like Adrienne in our education system. We wish her the best with her 7th graders. Again, motivationtruth.com. Lots of Palin goodies there. This past week, Governor Palin posted a note on Facebook titled, "Obama's Anti-American Energy Policies Invite the Next Crisis." And the governor then dissected the disastrous plans of the president. In fact, she says he doesn't have a plan at all when it comes to energy, saying, quote, he has an energy speech that he continues to give regardless of the facts or his obvious failures. He likes to take credit for actions initiated by the last administration without telling you that he's reversed or stymied many of those successes, unquote. The governor goes on to say, energy development, job creation, and national security are inextricably linked. Palin makes it sound simple, advising, drill for natural gas. Natural gas is the future. It's clean, it's green, and we've got lots of it. Now, will a stubborn White House listen or continue to deliver more pain at the gas pump for Americans? In a separate post, the governor commended Newt Gingrich once again, saying the former speaker's message on energy development was spot on. Governor Palin says drill now and stop bowing to foreign regimes. Also this past week, Governor Palin ripped Obama for apologies for the inadvertent Quran burning and demanded the Afghan army apologize for killing 2 of our soldiers. The media, up to its lame tricks, still mischaracterizing Governor Palin's emails and the false depiction of the Gov in an upcoming slam job movie on HBO. Palin aides, current informer, came to the governor's defense this past week, calling the fictional film sick and flat-out inaccurate. The Grizzly Fest Online Winter Summit was held this past week, and once again, it was a hit. We had a chance to be involved once again and had a blast. Next week, we'll look back at the Palin-packed afternoon. Sudden and relentless reform all the way. If you missed Grizzly Fest, or if you just want to hear it again, head over to grizzlyfest.com and check it out. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. Visit saranetradio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow us on Twitter at SaraNet Radio. And we're now on Facebook, so please like SaraNet Radio on Facebook. I want to thank everyone here at SaraNet Radio. Thanks to Adrienne Ross. And thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.